when I was going to school and I was going to college, and I wrote a paper called The American Dream, basically, from my family's point of view, or from my point of view from my family. And I would hear comments that my dad didn't like me writing about the family.
Really?
Yeah, because he felt like, things were private, and these are things that happen to the family, and I don't know if it's because, well, the main thing I had thought of was because he only had a third grade education, and here he was trying to provide for a family of 5 kids, so we were 7, and so he possibly thought that, what could he offer, or what did he have to boast about, possibly in the family? At least that was my thinking back then. And looking back, I see whether my thinking was right or wrong is how he really had nothing to worry about in that sense, because all 5 of us went to college. We grew up working in the fields, but all 5 went to college. We all got degrees. Everybody except me is in the teaching profession. Not many people can, whether you're a migrant or wherever, can state that all their kids, got their college degrees. So he kept a roof over our heads. He's much more the businessman than I am. He's made investments, and so he's bettered, our lives and his life, and so that's amazing when you consider that, here's a third grade educated person, who ends up migrating, and he necessarily didn't work in the fields, he worked in construction, so he didn't speak too much English or write much English, but yet he could communicate enough so that he could, be a part of the laborers union and work in construction, and still, manage a household, and build us a fine house back in Texas, and buy a 100-acre ranch, which we still have back home. And so it's amazing. And so I think I think his fear was, what would I write about that would possibly discover, some of his flaws or flaws of the family. I don't know. But there's something about storytelling where the storytellers are those who, in a sense, capture history. And if you look back in time, I think I'm picking up something that's missing in our community or in my family, and that's the thing of writing down stories that just present life as it is. They're not these great achievements, they're not these poor pitiful things or something, but they're just everyday life. And so if anything, I capture just the social history of our life, from playing bingo to playing marbles, to asking for a nickel, from my great grandmother who's blind, so I can go buy a snow cone and stuff, and it just simple stories, of me, dancing in front of my cousins, and stuff, and making mud pies, and dreaming I could be with that cute British boy, that I saw on this one TV show, and stuff. That, I was, just living in fantasy, just because, when you're living, it's like, yes, who wouldn't want to sort of have what's on the other side of the fence, where life seems so much greener and so much richer and full of life, than my so-called mundane existence, and so I lived in my head a lot, where I would, perform in front of the mirror as Gladys Knight and the Pips, the whole combination, and just sing my heart out. And the funny thing about that is I remember I was in my parents' bedroom, and I had my brush microphone in hand, and I had my record player that I'd play like I've got to use my imagination, you know, how appropriate. And it'd be at night, and the lights would be on, and it'd be a, you know, a hot day, so you know, sort of like the windows would be open, the door would be open, and next door would be my cousins, you know, gathering and talking and stuff, male cousins and whatnot. You know, as a child, I wasn't dumb, but I wasn't bright enough to realize that just because I couldn't see them didn't mean that they couldn't see me. I was in clear view of them, and it just sort of like embarrasses me now that I cringe up into the hole and just. Here was Gonzalo, you know, doing his Gladys Knight interpretation, you know, in front of the mirror. I really got to use my imagination, and I kind of wish I could sort of like, and I haven't talked to them, I can't wait till they see the show so that I can maybe get their perspective on what they actually saw through the screen, right, and stuff. It's just, I can cover myself out, dig myself into a hole and just